What does it mean when every American general is summoned at once? Israel is told to stand down, and a U.S. president demands that we reinvade Afghanistan all in the same week? Stay tuned and find out.
You're listening to Rims Gray Chronicles, top three stories of the week. The world's gone strange, but we love a good peek. From shadows deep to the global stage, we bring the truth from age to age. With harmony bold and a skeptical tone, we dig up the news they don't want known. So stoke the fire and have a seat. This week's top three can't be beat. Pilgrims Grey Chronicles.
All right, well, travelers and fellow pilgrims, faithful listeners, and even those of you who are new. And if you are new, welcome. Make sure to subscribe and like and share and enjoy being here at the Pilgrims Grey Inn every Monday, Wednesday, Friday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time is when I try to get it uploaded. I don't always succeed because I work during the week, just like many of you. So, I just want you to know that the road tonight runs through storm clouds. The rulers of men are clearly restless. Trumpets sound in Washington. War drums echo from Jerusalem. And the shadows of old prophecies stretch across the nations. Captains are summoned from the corners of the earth. Bases long abandoned are demanded back. Ancient letters speak of Zion and Islam locked in mortal struggle. And the scroll of God whispers that wars are but the prelude of the final week decreed upon the world. And tonight, we follow the smoke from Quantico to Bagram, from the halls of the UN to the ruins of Damascus yet to be. And we ask, are we watching possibly Pike's third war begin? Well, let's find out. Let's go section one here, our first story. The General Summit. Those of you paying attention, you may have seen a news breaking like a lightning bolt, as far as I'm concerned. On September 30th, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has ordered nearly every American general and admiral, 1 star and above, across every branch to drop their post worldwide and report to Quantico, Virginia. So the Washington Post called it a rare and abrupt convocation of the military senior leadership. And Reuters said plainly, it is unprecedented in scope. And then think of the risk, right? You're pulling commanders from Europe while Russian jets press into Baltic skies, stripping Indo-Pacific commands while Chinese fleets test Taiwan's waters, and leaving CENTCOM brass absent while Iran rattles its sabers. The official explanation they've given is that they want to talk warrior ethos or fitness, grooming standards. But insiders whisper of a purge, perhaps 20% of flag officers cut. Don't know. That's just the rumor. But I, of course, always ask questions anytime I hear something, because I don't trust anything that I hear. And I think, why now? Why all at once? It's really weird. And why the final day of the fiscal year, September 30th for them? So it feels less like a pep rally and more like a council of war. I think of Tolkien when the Council of Elrond, they summoned elves, dwarves, men, and hobbits before the shadow marched, right? Washington just summoned every star wearer before the world's storm breaks, is what it looks like to me. Just paying attention to the news and being a Tolkien nerd, I see these things and I wonder, just like you do, right? And then in story 2, we have Trump's double strike Israel and Afghanistan in some statements this week. In the same week, Trump drew 2 battle lines. First, with Israel, right? Standing before reporters, he declared, I will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank. A sitting U.S. president telling Netanyahu no, right? Because they'd already said, in response, Netanyahu thundered at the UN General Assembly, we will finish the job in Gaza, and we will not bow to those who walk out. We will not yield to those who scorn us. And several delegations stormed out mid-speech, and the nations raged in plain sight. And then second, in Afghanistan, Trump demanded the return of Bagram Air Base, the fortress abandoned in 2021 so terribly by the Biden administration. He warned that if the Taliban refused, bad things would happen. Just say no and find out, basically, is what he said. And the Taliban answered within hours and said, okay, Trump will do whatever you want. No, of course not. They said, we will not allow foreign forces to return. And so military analysts warn that retaking Bagram would take minimum 10 to 12,000 troops. So a full-scale reentry into Central Asia could be looming on the horizon. And Bagram is no ordinary outpost. It is clearly strategic, right? I mean, it is within striking distance of Tehran, Islamabad, Moscow, and Beijing. So in 1 week, we have, Israel being restrained, the Taliban being provoked, and we're reopening the Central Asian chessboard all over again. It should be very interesting end of the year. And is it a coincidence, right, that we're also having this huge meeting about haircuts, the military, every general, so we can discuss morale and fitness and physical appearance, right? It seems like we've got things going on that are in conjunction with basically we have men playing a script written long ago. And what do I mean by that? Well, for those of you unfamiliar with Albert Pike, there's an infamous letter that was attributed to Pike, 1871-ish, Grand Commander of the Scottish Rite Freemasonry. And of course, scholars dispute its origin, but if you just read it, I mean, it just reads exactly like what happened in the first 2 world wars. Exactly what they wanted to happen pretty much happened. But listen to the words he writes here. Quote, the Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam and political Zionism mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided, will be forced to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. Then we shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and they will receive the true light of Lucifer's pure doctrine. Unquote. And so there you have it. So it seems like they're trying to get this done. That's the script, and that's what the script is leading towards, and that's what they want. They want their third war to usher in their Novus Ordo Seclorum. This war is supposed to do it, the last one, the third one. So if you just pause and compare for a moment, political Zionism versus Islam, Israel and Gaza, Israel and Iran, Israel and Turkey, and, every one of those is a powder keg just waiting for somebody to throw a match in. Could happen anytime. And then other nations drawn in. We have NATO, Russia, China, the UN, all circling like buzzards right now. Just, you know, like dogs at a fence, or cats maybe, just eyeing each other, circling to see who's going to throw that first claw out there. And then the exhaustion of nations. We have endless conflicts, drained economies. We can't afford a war. And maybe that's the point, right? We can collapse everything and have our reset and social unrest and societal collapse. And then, of course, like I said, the Novus Ordo Seclorum, new order of the ages, etched already on our US dollar, and it's just waiting to be birthed in this chaos because I think they kind of follow the Babylonian system of secret knowledge, of order out of chaos, right? Or from chaos, order. And they're the ones creating the chaos. So, of course, they come in and look like heroes, or they throw their heroes at us. And they, of course, fix everything. That even though they're the ones that did it, they come along and fix because it's all a game. It's all a script and a game to them. So whether Pike was a prophet or fraud, the blueprint is uncanny. And if you look at the first two world wars that he wrote about, I'll put a link if I can think about it in the YouTube video. I think I can put Albert Pike's work on this, discussing it maybe in there. I'm not sure. I'll look into it, and if I can't, I won't. And that way you can, buy it and read it for yourself and study it. Anyway, it dovetails with prophecy written millennia before Pike even took a breath, and maybe they're taking advantage of that. I don't know, because Scripture warns of wars, right, that are not yet the tribulation. Not Daniel's 70th week. For those of you who even think this way, because I know many don't view Daniel's prophecy that way. But we look at like Psalm 83, where it says, "They have said, 'Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation.'" And you wind up having a coalition of Israel's nearest neighbors plotting her end: Hezbollah, Hamas, Tehran, Ankara, and then in Isaiah 17. We've had this mentioned on our show before in regards to Satan's little season, but it also is appropriate here where it says, "Behold, Damascus will cease from being a city. It shall be a ruinous heap." A prophecy that has never really been fulfilled in history. And Syria, Syria's capital, as far as I know, is still standing and a fully functioning city and always has been. And yet it is possibly perched on the edge of destruction, because we know that Israel is wanting to target Syria as part of this, and Iran. And then I know some people mention Ezekiel 38 and 39, the Gog and Magog, Persia, and the nations surging against Israel. And then, of course, God answers with fire from heaven. Many people debate the timing on that. Some think it's just before the 70th week or at its onset, and some people think it happens at the end of it, or not the end of the. Well, some people do actually believe that it happens in the culmination at the end, but I think the more likely scenario is one I've heard Derek Gilbert speak about. If I'm getting this correct, that it's the war at the end of the millennium when Lucifer is let loose again to for his little season where he surrounds the camp of the saints, Jerusalem, and they are instantly destroyed by fire. Pretty much, God wipes them out. Doesn't mess around. Doesn't, but it's clear that the adversary is able to persuade a fairly sizable portion of humanity to surround the camp of the saints, deceives the nations, and brings them against us. So I think Ed Maury is correct about that it probably will have something to do with the fact that there'll be survivors who are in the millennial reign, who are just normal humans, but um, the prophet Isaiah seems to indicate that they will have longer than normal lives. We will, of course, those of us who have our glorified bodies won't ever die, but these people in the millennium will have children, and they won't live forever. They'll live a very long, extended period of time. And during this time, of course, Jesus, our Messiah, rules with an iron rod. And some of these people still have a nature that is still sinful. And my guess is they won't like the iron rod. They'll, like all of us, they'll resent it. They're going to want to do what they want to do because of that nature, and they're not going to like his reign. And they're not going to like us enforcing his reign or trying to teach them things. Just like sinful people now don't want to hear you talking about their moral lifestyle. They want to do what they want to do, and they don't care about your objective moral values and duties and whether they're good for society or not. They want what they want. And your opinion doesn't matter, and neither does God's in their sight. And so those people will rebel. But I also think there might be some level of perhaps envy and jealousy stirred up there too. They still suffer things because they're in their physical body that's not great, and maybe they can't go in and out of the holy city. I don't know, because they still have flesh that's sinful, and they see us and our amazing bodies, and they don't have that, and we do. And maybe there's some level of jealousy or envy provoked, as well as the resentment of the ruling with an iron rod. All of that combined. All I know is he manages to deceive a great number of people who come after us. Again, even with Jesus right there with all of us, it still persuades them. Just like, humanity is persuaded to fight against the return of Jesus. We literally try to prevent his return, fighting it. How stupid. But we do it. Because whoever this Antichrist, false Messiah is, has persuaded humanity that he's the Messiah. And you'll be fighting some enemy, invading the world. That's how confusing all of this gets. So, anyway, these things that I just mentioned are more scaffolds or stage setting battles or wars that could possibly pave the way for a covenant made with the Antichrist, discussed in Daniel 9:27. I know some people don't view it that way. I get that some people see that as Christ making a covenant with many. And maybe we can do a future show on why I don't think that's the case and others do. And maybe I'll just present both sides and you can decide for yourself. I don't know. So to kind of wrap things up here, we have this convergence, right? We have General Summon, the entire U.S. High Command ordered to Quantico. We have Trump's demands, which I don't know. I thought they were pretty forward and bold, but that's not. That's right in keeping with his character, right? He's got a mouth, where he's restraining Israel and reclaiming Bagram, rebalancing two flashpoints, and then we have Pike's blueprint, right? Zion versus Islam, global exhaustion, Luciferian order, right? And biblical prophecy, Psalm 83, Isaiah 17, possibly Ezekiel 38, all preludes to Daniel's final week. To me, they're not random threads. It's a woven cord and a rope pulling us closer to this decreed hour, And I don't say this to make us fearful at all. I just think you should watch for storms on the horizon. Again, I say this often. God has not given us a spirit of fear. It's why he gives us his word and prophecy. So we can trust that he's a good God and he knows what he's doing, and you're going to be okay no matter what happens. Even if you don't live or you die in the process, you'll be with the Lord. So take that into consideration. And so as we close, the captains are summoned, the nations rage, In the old scrolls, whispers of the days to come, and yet the author still holds the quill, and his story will not fail. So, pilgrims, fellow gray pilgrims, if tonight's road has stirred your spirit, do not walk it alone. Subscribe to Pilgrims Gray Chronicles on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Apple. Leave a 5-star review. It helps get us out there. And wherever you journey, whatever streaming platform you listen to, share this tale with fellow travelers, for the road grows darker and many sleep while the storm gathers, but together we will keep our lanterns lit, watchfires burning, and the truth alive. Until next time, Godspeed to all of you, and be watchful as this road goes ever on, folks. Have an awesome weekend.